All right, welcome in, everyone. Ready to go deep today. Well, it's about positive thinking.
Sounds pretty upbeat.
It is, but we're going deeper than just, good vibes only. We're using this Legacy of Mindset podcast transcript, kind of like our guide.
Oh, I like that podcast. They get into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. So we're going to see how this stuff really works, the science of it all. You with me.
Let's do it. I think the source does a great job connecting this to actual positive psychology.
Right. It's not just like putting on a happy face, right?
Nope. It's about how our thoughts, even at the brain level, can change things.
Okay, so this whole thoughts become reality thing, the source talks about studies that show positive thinkers are, healthier.
Yeah, mentally and physically.
I get this, maybe even live longer.
Who wouldn't want that?
Right. But how? How does that even work?
Well, it's more than just I'm in a good mood.
Right.
When you think positive, your brain's actually releasing these chemicals, dopamine, serotonin.
So it's not just a feeling, it's real stuff happening.
Oh, yeah, it's like a brain boost. These chemicals help you focus, stay motivated.
So it's like a productivity hack, but for your brain.
Exactly. Dopamine's linked to that reward feeling, keeps you going. And serotonin, that's mood, sure, but also memory and learning.
Wow, so it's positive thoughts lead to a better brain, which leads to more good stuff.
Upward spiral.
Okay, this is getting interesting. It's like a mental muscle we can work on, right?
It is. And the source lays out this cool framework, the 3 C's: catch, challenge, change.
Ooh, I love a framework. It gives you something to, hold on to.
Yeah, and the idea is it's a process.
Okay.
You don't just wake up one morning and bam, you're Mr. Positive.
Sure.
It starts with, you got to catch the negativity.
Yeah, those thoughts we all have.
Yeah, I can't, I'm not good enough, all that.
Ugh, the inner critic.
But you got to see it to deal with it.
Right, shining a light on it so you can say, hey, what are you doing here?
Exactly. And then you challenge it.
But not pretend it's not there.
No, you question it.
Okay.
Is this thought, true?
Yeah.
Is it based on something real? Or just fear, insecurity, old stuff?
Putting it on trial.
Huh. I like that. Because a lot of times when you really look, those thoughts, they crumble.
This reminds me of, I was prepping for a big presentation once.
Oh, yeah.
Total freak out. I'm going to bomb. They'll hate me.
It's a classic.
But then I was like, wait, I prepared. I know this stuff. I've gotten good feedback before.
Okay.
Presentation went great. But more than that, I realized, I can challenge these thoughts.
That's huge. Breaking free from that self-doubt.
It is. Okay, so we caught the thought, challenged it. Now what's the last C?
Change. You got to rewrite that script in your head.
So instead of I'm a failure, it's I'm learning, right?
Right. It's about reframing.
Yeah.
Not pretending everything's perfect.
Yeah.
But focusing on what you can do, finding the opportunity, even in a tough spot.
It's choosing to see things differently.
Yeah, it is. And the podcast even talks about toxic positivity.
Oh, yeah, of just forcing happiness.
Right. They're saying it's okay to have negative feelings.
It's more like acknowledging them and then saying, okay, but what can I do?
Exactly. You have that power.
This makes sense. Okay, so we've got the science, the framework, but how does this actually play out in someone's life,
Well, the podcast tells this really interesting story about a guy named John.
Oh, yeah.
He was struggling with self-doubt. Big time.
We've all been there.
He was so focused on what he didn't have, a promotion, that he couldn't see his accomplishments.
Ah, stuck in that negativity.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how did he get out of it? Did he just suddenly become positive?
Right. It can't be that easy, can it?
No, he used the 3 C's. First, he had to actually realize that negative thought was there.
Catch it.
Right. I'll never get promoted. That was his, stuck thought. Then he challenged it.
Okay, so instead of just, believing it?
He got specific. He listed his accomplishments, projects he did well, good feedback.
So he's building a case against his own WN negativity.
Exactly. And this is legit stuff, It's used in cognitive behavioral therapy.
Whoa, wait, so it's not just some self-help thing?
Nope. There's research behind it. It works.
Okay, so he challenges the thought. Then what?
That he could change it. Instead of, I'll never get promoted, he said to himself, I'm capable, I deserve to grow.
Wow, just the words are so different.
But that changes your whole mindset.
It's like that saying, change your thoughts, change your world or something.
Totally. So, did it work for John? The podcast says a few months later, he got the promotion.
No way.
Yep. And he felt more confident at work, too.
We can't say for sure it was only the thoughts, right?
True. But it's got to play a part. How you approach things, the energy you put out.
This is so inspiring, though. It's like you're not just passively waiting for good things.
Right. It's taking control. Like, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Ooh, I like that. So by being positive, he was ready when the chance came.
Exactly. Speaking of being ready, the podcast also mentions some tools that can help.
Oh, yeah, they talked about gratitude journaling, affirmations, all that, right?
Yep. I've tried the gratitude thing, but sometimes it feels, I don't know, forced.
Me too. Like, am I really grateful for doing laundry today?
Huh. But the podcast says, even on those days, just looking for things to be grateful for, it helps.
Like, it trains your brain to see the good stuff, even if it's small.
There's research on this, too. It reduces stress, makes you happier.
So it's not just about feeling good, it actually changes things in your brain.
Right. What about affirmations? Those always felt kind of cheesy to me.
I know, like just saying nice things to yourself. Does that really work?
Well, the idea is you're, like, reprogramming your subconscious.
Whoa, deep.
But you got to mean it. It can't just be empty words.
How do you make sure you're, like, actually believing it?
Choose ones that resonate with you, personally. And say them with conviction. Feel it.
So it's not just repeating, it's almost like feeling the emotion behind the words.
Exactly. And be patient. It's a practice, like
Yeah.
anything else. Start small, a few affirmations you connect with.
Maybe make it part of your routine so you don't forget.
That's a good idea.
Uh-huh.
They also talk about those mindfulness apps, Calm, Insight Timer, all those.
I haven't used those much. What's the deal with them?
They're good for, like, training yourself to be more present.
So you're not so caught up in your thoughts, especially the negative ones?
Right. And the cool thing is, they're easy to use, even if you've never meditated before.
It's like having a coach right on your phone.
Yeah, and it's all about finding what works for you.
Right, because everyone's different.
The key is consistency, like the podcast says. The more you practice this stuff.
The more natural it becomes.
Exactly. But it's not about ignoring the bad, you know?
No. Life's not all rainbows and unicorns.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more like you're choosing how you respond to the tough stuff.
Having a more balanced outlook, knowing there'll be good and bad.
And still choosing to look for the positive. That's powerful.
This idea of positive thinking, though, it's not exactly new, is it?
Yeah, it's like, this idea's been around forever.
I was just thinking about that, like different philosophies, ancient wisdom, all that.
Totally. The Stoics, for example, they were all about, like, focus on what you can control.
Oh, yeah, I've read about them.
Except what you can't, find the good, even when things are tough.
Sounds familiar, right?
It's like positive thinking 101, but from, like, thousands of years ago.
That's so cool. It's like this timeless thing.
And even in medicine now, they're realizing how much our minds affect our bodies.
It's a mind-body connection, right?
Like, less stress, thanks to positive thinking, can actually boost your immune system.
And I've heard optimistic people heal faster, too.
Exactly. It's not just in your head. It has real effects.
So it's like a superpower we all have, but we gotta learn to use it.
I like that. A superpower. And it helps you with challenges, sure, but also to just, like, live better.
Not pretending everything's perfect, but choosing to see the good.
That's the key. And, hey, remember what the listener wanted from this deep dive.
To really get this whole positive thinking thing,
I think we've done that right.
I think so. We covered the science, the 3 C's framework, even John's story.
And all those tools people can try out.
But before we go, I want to leave everyone with something to think about.
Always love a good takeaway.
Okay, so think of a challenge you're facing right now. Anything, work, relationships, whatever.
Or maybe it's just, like, a negative thought you keep having.
How do you normally react to that challenge? What's your, like, default mode?
Do you go straight to the worst case scenario?
Or do you think, okay, I can handle this?
Now, try using the 3 C's. Catch that negative thought, write it down.
Figure it out of your head.
Then challenge it. Is it really true? Or just fear talking?
And finally, change it. Find a more positive way to say it.
It might feel weird at first, but you're training your brain.
To see the possibilities, not the problems.
And pay attention to what happens. How do you feel when you do this?
Maybe even tell someone about it, a friend, family.
The more we talk about this stuff, the more normal it becomes.
And the more we can all benefit from it.
It's been awesome exploring this with you.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Remember, everyone, positive thinking takes practice, but it's worth it.
You got this. And thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.